Welcome back to highlights of the Vuelta España right here on GCN Racing. Yesterday the race kicked off with a team time trial and it couldn't have been a better start for Astana. Not only did Lopez and Fuglsang gain time in all their GC rivals, they also won the stage, putting Lopez into the red jersey already on day one. In contrast, it couldn't have been a worse start for Jumbo-Visma. Some water had made its way onto the course before a left-hand turn, causing a number of their riders to hit the deck, and leading to Roglic and Kruijswijk losing 40 seconds on the very opening day. UAE Team Emirates also crashed for the very same reason, but away from the TV cameras. Smiles all around then for Astana, who've really been on fire all of 2019. Here's Lopez also receiving his leader's red jersey, which he would take into stage 2. Which looks like this, the first road stage of this year's event, and it's not your simple sprint affair. In fact, when we look at the profile, the chances of a sprint finish are slim at the very best. 2 second category climbs, including one almost from the very start of the 200k stage, and 1 third category climb midway through. Looks perfect for the breakaway, and also for late attacks. It actually took 13 Ks of attacking before our breakaway eventually formed. Sander Armé of Lotto Soudal, Angel Madrazo of Burgos BH, Willem Schmidt of Katusha and Jonathan Lastra of Caco Rural. Behind, Astana were on the front defending their lead, the gap still over 5 minutes just before the halfway point of the stage. With 42 Ks to go, Armé decided the pace wasn't nearly high enough at the front. A stage winner here 2 years ago, he flew the breakaway nest in an effort to go clear solo, and that is exactly what he would do. Nobody able to get on his wheel despite the best efforts of Madrazo. With just 1 minute 14 of an advantage though, and a big climb still to go, it was going to be tough for Armé, particularly with the GC teams massing at the front of the peloton to get their leaders into a good place before the start of that final climb. By the intermediate sprint, Armé's lead was down to just 8 seconds, and soon after, the inevitable happened and he was caught by the main pack, being controlled still here by Jumbo-Visma, back to make amends for the mishap of yesterday. Pace being set at the front by Tony Martin was enough to put a number of riders into trouble at the back, amongst them sprinter and Irish champion Sam Bennett. Onto the climb itself, and it was a brutal pace being set right from the very start. Pierre Latour and Italian champion Davide Formolo particularly active at the front of affairs, George Bennett bridging across to the duo. They held a slender lead over the rest of the favourites behind, but after an acceleration by Alejandro Valverde, they were brought back by a very select group. That also included Quintana, Roglic and the best placed on GC, Nico Roche. Wasn't all good news for Jumbo-Visma though. Steven Kruijswijk, third on GC at the Tour de France, was finding the pace too tough and dropped with a kilometre to go to the top. The world champion was a man on a mission today though, setting the pace at the front, eventually bridging across to another attack from Bennett and Formolo to take the maximum 5 points at the top of the final climb. There was a small regrouping over the top, but with no team there en masse, there was no real control and attacks were flying left, right and centre. Bennett and Formolo continued to animate things even on the descent, but neither of them would make the move that would eventually go up the road. That took another couple of kilometres before it happened, but the man who ignited it all was Mitchelton Scot Mikel Nieve. Here you can see him going up the road with Nico Roche glued to his wheel. They were eventually joined by Roglic, Quintana, Uran and eventually Fabio Aru, a very, very dangerous group to let go up the road. And the problem that Lopez had was that he only had one rider left in his group to do any chasing, Jon Izagirre. Basically it was 1 against 6 and so the gap soon started to rise. 14 seconds with 17 Ks to go, and that had risen to 19 seconds just a few kilometres later. Many of the riders in that second group in fact had riders up the road. The big losers being Astana, Bora Hansgrohe and also Ineos, who didn't have anybody even in this second split. Great to see this man back at the front of the Grand Tour. Fabio Aru must have been wondering when his luck was ever going to change after crashing in the TTT yesterday, but he's clearly on good form just by the fact he managed to bridge over to that group. Into the closing 5Ks and the gap had extended even further, 36 seconds by this point. This was turning into a GC day. Quintana though wanted to gain an advantage on GC and take the stage. He attacked with just over 3Ks to go, and with a moment's hesitation from the rest, he soon had daylight between himself and the rest. That was a squeaky bum moment, wasn't it, for Mikel Nieve there. The chase fully on behind Quintana, but you can see up the road there he still had a slender lead over the riders chasing behind. Into the closing straight, and Quintana was looking incredibly strong. Behind, Roglic was chasing, keen not to let such a big rival gain too much time, whilst Roach was biding his time, preferring to concentrate on taking red. For Movistar and Quintana though, this turned out to be the perfect day in the saddle, and one that they couldn't possibly have expected this morning. This is his last Grand Tour for the team, at least for the time being anyway, and what a way to start it. Nairo Quintana winning stage 2 of the Vuelta a España, and the way he continued to power all the way to the line tells you everything you need to know about what his overall ambitions are. Behind, Roach sprinted to second, taking 6 bonus seconds in the process, and also taking himself into the race lead. There's confirmation of the top 10 on the stage though, Quintana taking it by 5 seconds from the rest of the group. But here is your new race leader. 6 years after he last wore the red jersey as leader of the Vuelta, he's back in it. Nico Roach 2 seconds in front of Nairo Quintana, Rigoberto Urán sat in third at 8 seconds. Tomorrow we should have a sprint. It's by no means flat. There are a couple of third category climbs on the way into Alicante, but with the final 40k's predominantly downhill, there should be ample time to anyone that has been gapped. Join us tomorrow to find out who won.